From the pages of MikeHuckabee.com, a gathering place for ideas in these socially distant times, not to mention the totally free MikeHuckabee.com newsletter, which is delivered right to your email inbox twice a day. Let's take another look back at the week that was. Across the nation, Americans are getting fed up with heavy-handed bureaucrats telling them to stay indoors and at all the same time going bankrupt, which is about the only way some people think it's possible to avoid the coronavirus. And no public official is more seemingly gleeful about draconian restrictions on the unwashed masses than Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. The latest in the ongoing drama in the Wolverine state is that a rural mayor and sheriff say they're not going to enforce orders that they deem to be unconstitutional. And even the state Senate leader is calling out Nurse Governor Ratchet for being drunk on power. The governor, apparently having learned nothing from the saga of briefly jailed Dallas salon owner turned Liberty icon Shelley Luther, retaliated against a 77-year-old barber named Carl Mankey. She pulled his barber's license. This for the high crime of refusing to stay closed and just let him go out of business. Mr. Mankey, wearing a mask, reopened on May the 4th, saying, "The government is not my mother, never has been. I've been in business longer than they've been alive." Mr. Mankey continues to cut hair, and he says he's going to keep doing it until he's arrested or until Jesus walks in. Well, from some of the pictures I've seen of Jesus, he may have needed the haircut as badly as me, at least up until this week when my barber finally opened up, and legally. And in deep state news, more than a dozen Obama administration officials were unmasked themselves this week. On Wednesday, the names of those who had called for the unmasking of General Michael Flynn's name in NSA records were made public. Names including the forgetful former Vice President Joe Biden, who claimed from his basement he knew nothing about the Flynn affair, contrary to documents that now show that the vice president was in an Oval Office meeting about the general and that he had personally requested the unmasking. All joking aside, and even serious comments about Biden not being able to remember this, what does it tell you about your candidate when your best defense for his lying is to call attention to his increasingly common senior moments? Well, Keith has some fun questions for me to answer right after you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell below. And if you're enjoying this video, consider leaving a like and a comment. Right now, let's take a look at some of your questions and the comments that you have sent in to my 2 cents mailbox at tbn.tv. Keith, what do you got for us this week?
Well, let's see what we got from the mailbox here. Sabrina in McDonough, Georgia, has a kind word for you. Hey, Governor Huckabee, I love your show. I watch it on TV or on your YouTube channel. I work with several people who won't apologize when they've spoken to someone in a harsh manner. Should I leave it alone so I don't have to deal with that every day, or should I stay? My sanity is taking a hit.
Well, you know, Sabrina, you're still sane enough to be concerned, and that's a good thing. Ultimately, it's a decision you've got to make, but I would say learn to ignore people who are rude, careless, and thoughtless. There's a bunch of them out in the world, and no matter where you go, there'll be some around. Learn to pray for them. I really find, no kidding, that the best thing I can do for people who are really mean, pray for them. And you'll be amazed, it may not change them, but it sometimes can change us.
Well, Tim in Aurora, Illinois says, hello, Mr. Huckabee. My wife and I enjoy your show. We appreciate having a program where we can find like-minded people such as yourself. We like the variety you bring. Huck's Hero is our favorite segment. I have a question. Why does the band play so much worldly music?
Well, I'm glad you love the show, and we're glad you love the variety. And part of the variety is in the music. And we like music from all genres. We have folks who are from maybe the gospel world, but we have folks from country and rock. If I got to be honest with you, I like them all. I hope you will learn to enjoy them as well. But thanks for being a faithful viewer. We truly, truly appreciate that. Keith, what else?
Yeah, here we go. Patrick in Lincoln, Nebraska demands compliance. He says self-righteous Christians like you do more damage to the cause of Christ than the devil could ever do. The governor of Michigan is directing people to stay home to give the healthcare system a chance to get caught up and to protect her citizens while the so-called leaders of this country work on a solution to the coronavirus problem. Criticizing her and other leaders who are doing their best to protect the citizenry make you part of the problem, not part of the solution.
Well, first of all, I will say thanks for the high compliment that you think I'm even more powerful than the devil. I mean, he's been around a lot longer than me. I've been around a while, but not that long. And I've never thought of myself as all that powerful. Let me point out again, I'm not against the governor of any state trying to protect citizens. But I'm not sure you can say that going into a store that is open, being able to buy almost anything on the shelf except seeds that you can take home and plant in your garden makes any sense. Or does it make sense to say that you can't mow your lawn or that you can't get out in a boat and go fishing when you're going to be out in the sunshine with fresh air? I'm all for trying to do everything we can to protect people, but I also want to protect both our civil liberties and our common sense. Keith, who else have we heard from this week?
Well, Audrey from Cambria Heights, New York, is a little bit happier than Patrick. So glad you had Vernon Jones on, who spoke for untold numbers of black voter citizens, word for word. That's spoken by a lifelong Democrat voter turned independent.
You know, it's interesting. The Vernon Jones interview had such a response. People resonated with this black legislator in Georgia, who's a Democrat, lifelong Democrat, who announced that he was going to vote for President Trump for re-election. And man, did he ever get some blowback from Democrats who were angry at him. But the truth is, President Trump had the highest level of voters for a Republican candidate for president in a long, long time of anyone. My guess is he's going to have an even bigger number this year. A lot of them won't tell anyone like Vernon did. They saw what happened to him. But when they get into that voting booth and they're all alone, they're going to vote for a person who has done more for African Americans than any president in our lifetime, black, white, Democrat, Republican. Okay, Keith.
Well, Kelly in East Tawas, Michigan, has a great question for you. I was just watching Huckabee on TBN, and you're right. Our elected officials should not be getting a paycheck while this shutdown is going on. I don't have a choice. I'm a 50-year-old single female that works for herself. I used to have a produce farm, but couldn't support myself that way anymore. So I supplement that with other work like painting, mowing, cleaning, etc. I still have to work. Why don't they? And why do they still take pay?
As you know, I agree. I think it's wrong when people who are in government positions and they shut your capacity to make a living down. I think we ought to shut their capacity to make one down. Then they would truly prove to me that they're serious about how bad the potential risk for the coronavirus still is. I think that makes a whole lot of sense. And I have great, genuine concern for people like you, single people in business for yourself and struggling to keep it going. Thanks for letting us hear from you and all of you. Please get in touch with us at my2cents@tbn.tv. Now from the Twitterverse, where you can follow me at GovMikeHuckabee, the DNC panel voted Tuesday to limit the scope of the Democrat convention with the possibility of delegates voting from home in a virtual convention. That is, since they have a virtual candidate who currently exists on video feeds from his basement. Kind of made me think of the great Charlton Heston movie, El Cid. Remember that one? Well, if you do, you're pretty old. Perhaps the Democratic National Committee might have to prop Joe Biden up on a horse and ride him around on camera to rouse the virtual delegates at the virtual convention for their virtual candidate. Here's a final thought from the great author Mark Twain, worth your consideration. He says, life is short, break the rules, forgive quickly, kiss slowly, love truly, laugh uncontrollably, and never regret anything that made you smile. Now, until next week, when we meet again on Huckabee.tv, these are the facts of the matter. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, then subscribe, and hit the notification bell below. Now, if you didn't like it, you ought to find a Ben Shapiro video to detox you with more facts.